I was babysitting my grandson while my daughter and her husband went on a trip. On day 3, they sent a text, "We're not coming back. He's yours now." When I called in shock, my son-in-law said, "You always wanted him around anyway. Free gift." I hung up and dialed CPS. What happened next? I'm 63 years old, a retired nurse living alone in Spokane, Washington. My husband died 5 years ago, and I've lived a quiet life since. I have one daughter, Marlena. She's 29. Her son, Caleb, is 4. He's my only grandchild. We were never a picture-perfect family. Marlena's always been distant. Cold. She had Caleb young, at 25, and married Travis a year after. He's never been respectful. I didn't like him from the start. There was something mean in his eyes, something I couldn't name, but I felt it. Still, I tried to stay involved in Caleb's life. The last time I saw them before this all started was Christmas. I drove to their apartment in Spokane Valley. They barely let me in. Caleb was quiet. I asked if he liked the train, said I mailed him for his birthday in November. Marlena looked embarrassed and said he broke it. She said it like he was some wild animal, not a little boy. That was 2 months ago. One Sunday morning in February, I got a call from Marlena. Her voice was sharp and dry. No greetings, no how are you. Just straight to the point. We need to go to Arizona for a week. A marriage retreat. Can you watch Caleb? I paused. I hadn't babysat Caleb overnight before, but I missed him. I said yes. Of course I said yes. They dropped him off that night. They didn't even come inside. Travis just handed me Caleb, who was holding a small blue backpack and a stuffed penguin. Caleb looked scared. Marlena stayed in the car, engine running. Travis didn't explain anything, just said, "Thanks. We'll be back Saturday." Then they drove off. The first 2 days were quiet. Caleb didn't talk much. He followed me from room to room. He flinched when I raised my voice, not even yelling, just when I asked him not to leave toys on the stairs. That's when I noticed the bruises. One on his arm. Another on his back. I asked him about them. He said, "I fell down. Mommy says I always fall too much." I couldn't stop thinking about that. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened next. Wednesday night. Day 3. It was 8:06 p.m. I was cleaning up spaghetti dishes when my phone buzzed. It was a text from Marlena. It said, "We're not coming back. He's yours now." That was it. No emojis. No explanation. I stared at the screen for at least a full minute. I thought maybe it was a joke. Some weird prank. I called her immediately. No answer. I tried Travis. He picked up. He was laughing. "You always wanted him around anyway," he said. "Free gift." "You're welcome." Then he hung up. I stood there in silence. My hand was shaking. I looked over at Caleb. He was on the living room rug, lining up Hot Wheels on a pillow. I had no idea what to do. I called CPS. They sent someone out the next morning. A woman named Christine. She was polite but direct. She looked at the bruises, asked me about Caleb's behavior, reviewed the texts and call log. She asked if I had any legal rights to Caleb. I didn't. I was just the grandma. That same day, CPS placed an emergency protection order. I became Caleb's temporary guardian. Christine said, "They abandoned him. He's your responsibility now. Unless we place him in foster care." I told her he was staying with me. I thought that was the worst of it. I was wrong. 2 weeks later, I started getting blocked phone calls. I didn't answer them at first. But one went to voicemail. It was Travis. "You think you're better than us?" he said. You'll regret this. Grandma hero my ass. You'll see. I took it to the police. They said it wasn't enough to act on. A few days later, I found a white envelope in my mailbox. No stamp. No return address. Inside was a wrinkled piece of paper with 4 words written in red Sharpie: "You took our son." Another one came the next week. It had a picture of Marlena holding Caleb as a baby. On the back, "This was our family. You ruined it." Then came the third envelope. It had a dead mouse in it. That one made me cry. I installed security cameras around the house. I stopped going out after dark. My neighbor, Alan, helped me change the locks. He even lent me a bat to keep by the bed. But that still didn't stop them. One day after dropping Caleb off at preschool, I came home to find my front door wide open. Someone had kicked it in. Every drawer was dumped. Picture frame smashed. My bedroom mirror had a message written in lipstick: "You don't deserve him." This time, the police took it seriously. A detective named Rios came by. He was calm. Professional. Said he believed it was Travis or someone close to him. Then Christine from CPS called again. She asked me to come in. Said there was something urgent. They had discovered multiple withdrawals from my bank accounts. Thousands of dollars. All in Arizona. All using my name. Marlena had opened a credit card in my name almost a year ago. She used my social security number. She had been draining money slowly. I didn't notice. Now she and Travis were using it like a vacation fund. I sat there in Christine's office, shaking with anger. Marlena hadn't just left her child. She was trying to destroy me financially too. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with a yellow notepad. I wrote down everything I remembered. Every time she asked to borrow money. Every lie. Every excuse. I called a lawyer the next morning. Denise Foreman. She didn't smile much, and she didn't sugarcoat anything. She filed a petition for full custody of Caleb within 2 days. Then we pressed charges: identity theft, fraud, and child abandonment. Within a week, police found Marlena and Travis in Las Vegas. They were living in a cheap motel. There were meth pipes on the nightstand. Caleb's old clothes were stuffed into a trash bag in their car trunk. They were arrested. I thought that would be the end. It wasn't. Travis's mother, a woman named Dolores, filed for custody. She claimed I was poisoning Caleb against his parents. She showed up at my front porch one morning, pounding on the door, yelling, "You think you're some kind of savior? He's my grandson." I called the police again. Denise took her apart in court. She had no job, no stable housing, and a DUI from last year. The judge sided with me. I got permanent guardianship of Caleb. That was 3 months ago. Caleb still wakes up crying some nights. He calls out for me, not Marlena. He's still scared of loud voices. Still flinches sometimes when I reach for him too fast. I've changed too. I don't sleep much. I double-check every lock. I check the mail with gloves on. But I'm stronger now. Meaner, maybe. I had to be. I raised a daughter who turned into a stranger. She abandoned her son, tried to ruin my life, and disappeared. But I'm still standing. And I'm not finished yet. 3 months after the judge gave me full guardianship of Caleb, things settled. On the outside, at least. He started talking more. He laughed sometimes. He drew pictures of me and him, holding hands under a sun with a smiley face. But when I told him I loved him, he never said it back. Not yet. I didn't push. We had a routine. Mornings were pancakes and cartoons. Afternoons were preschool and puzzles. Nights were soft music and warm baths. I was trying to give him peace. Structure. Safety. But it didn't last. One morning in May, I got a knock on the door. A man in a gray suit was standing there with a folder in his hand. He handed me a letter. It was from Marlena. A legal notice. She was fighting to terminate the guardianship. I couldn't believe it. After everything. After abandoning her son, after robbing me, after running off to do God knows what, now she wanted him back. The hearing was scheduled for 6 weeks out. Denise, my lawyer, told me not to panic. She won't win, she said. Not with her history. But I did panic. Because I knew Marlena. I knew how she worked. She didn't care about Caleb. She cared about control. And attention. And proving something. This wasn't about love. This was about her pride. And sure enough, 3 days after the letter arrived, I saw something that turned my stomach. Marlena had started a TikTok account. She posted a video crying, saying I stole her son. That she was recovering and I was manipulating the system. She blamed the courts, said older people shouldn't raise kids, and that I had cut her out of Caleb's life without mercy. The video had over 40,000 views in 2 days. Then the messages started. Strangers calling me kidnapper in my DMs. Emails from people telling me I should be ashamed. One woman even found my address and mailed me a postcard with "Give him back" written in red ink. I went to Denise again. We filed for a gag order. The court agreed. But Marlena didn't stop. She just made a new account. Then another. Caleb didn't know what was going on. I didn't tell him. But he started asking questions. Why don't I see mommy? Is she mad at me? Did I do something wrong? It broke me. I held him every time and said, no, baby. You didn't do anything wrong. But I wanted to scream. I wanted to find Marlena and shake her and ask why. Why now? Why after all this? Then Travis showed up. He was out on probation. One Saturday afternoon, I heard the gravel crunch in the driveway. I looked out the window. He was standing next to an old red pickup, arms crossed, smirking. I stepped outside. Told him to leave. He didn't move. Just wanted to see my son, he said. He's not your son anymore, I said back. He laughed. That's not what the court says. I called the police. He left before they arrived. But that wasn't the end of it. 2 nights later, someone slashed my tires. The next week, the camera by my garage caught a man walking up to the door, staring at it for 20 seconds, then walking away. His face was covered, but the way he walked, his build, it looked like Travis. Rios, the detective, came back. He opened a new case. But without a clear ID, there was nothing they could do. I started parking in the garage and keeping a light on all night. Then came the worst twist of all. At the pre-hearing conference, Marlena showed up looking clean. Hair brushed. Makeup on. New clothes. She walked in like a woman who had it all together. She'd hired a lawyer. A sharp, expensive one from Seattle named Claire Dunning. Claire walked in with a fat binder and a calm smile. She said Marlena was in a stable recovery program. That she'd been sober for 6 weeks. That she was in therapy. That she was rebuilding her life for her son. It felt like someone hit me in the stomach with a hammer. I looked over at Marlena. She didn't look at me. Didn't look at Caleb either. I squeezed Caleb's hand tight. Denise leaned over and whispered, "Don't worry. We've got more than enough." But I was worried. Because Marlena knew how to put on a show. She was always good at playing the victim. She could cry on command. And she had a new army behind her now, followers, online supporters, and an expensive lawyer spinning the story. I didn't care about court victories anymore. I just wanted to keep Caleb safe. But I could feel the next fight coming. And I knew this time it was going to get ugly. The first custody hearing was 2 weeks later. I sat in the hallway of the Spokane County Courthouse, dressed in my best navy sweater and black pants, clutching a folder of Caleb's medical records, school reports, and the CPS case file. I'd highlighted everything, every bruise photo, every missed doctor appointment when Marlena had custody, every drug charge tied to Travis. Caleb sat beside me, coloring a picture of a dinosaur. I told him we were just their 4 grown-up paperwork. He didn't know what it really meant. When Marlena walked in, she looked like someone from a magazine. Her hair was curled. Her blazer was cream-colored. She had a pearl necklace on. Her lawyer, Claire, carried a leather briefcase and smiled at everyone like they were old friends. I could already feel the judge's eyes shifting between us. Me, the older woman. Her, the young mother trying to recover. The courtroom felt like ice. Claire stood up and started with a speech about redemption and a mother's love. She used phrases like temporary crisis, mental health journey, and reuniting the family bond. I almost stood up and shouted, she abandoned him. She called him a gift she didn't want. But I stayed quiet. Denise handled it. She laid out everything. The abandoned child. The identity theft. The meth. The threats. The break-in. The bruises. The slashed tires. The viral videos. Claire tried to wave it all off. She said Marlena was in intensive counseling, that she had a recovery sponsor, that she was working part-time at a florist and taking online parenting classes. Then she dropped something I wasn't ready for. She also has an affidavit from a pediatric therapist who's spoken with Caleb, Claire said. He expressed longing for his mother. He wants to know why he can't see her. I whipped my head toward Denise. She leaned over and whispered, they went behind our back. Later, I found out CPS had allowed Marlena to video call Caleb, under therapeutic observation, during a supervised session at preschool. It was only 5 minutes. I wasn't told. Marlena had somehow convinced the school counselor to allow it. That night, Caleb didn't sleep. He had a nightmare and woke up screaming, "Don't let them take me." I wanted to break something. 2 days later, I got another blow. A call from Rios. "We just ran Travis's phone records," he said. "There's something you should know." Travis had been in contact with a woman named Carrie, someone I vaguely remembered. A friend Marlena had in high school. She was trouble back then. Apparently, she was worse now. Carrie had filed for custody, too. She claimed she was Caleb's godmother and that I was too old and mentally unstable to raise him. She said she had proof I was unfit. A folder of screenshots from Facebook posts I made 2 years ago, venting about loneliness and my health issues. It was laughable. But it still had to be dealt with. Denise ripped Carrie apart at the emergency hearing. She had no job, no housing, and a history of petty theft. The judge threw her claim out in 5 minutes. But the damage was done. I realized something that day. Marlena and Travis weren't trying to win back Caleb because they loved him. They were trying to take him from me just to hurt me. To ruin me. To win some sick game. And they weren't alone. They were using anyone they could. Dragging in people I hadn't heard from in years. Old friends. Distant relatives. Even my sister, Lisa. Lisa lived in Boise. We hadn't talked in a while. She called me out of the blue and said, maybe Marlena deserves a second chance. I asked her, where were you when Marlena left her son like trash on my porch? She hung up. The court ordered a psychological evaluation on all parties. I passed mine. Marlena's results were sealed. Claire fought hard to keep them that way. That told me everything I needed to know. But the judge still allowed supervised visitation. 1 hour a week. I had to take Caleb to a government building and hand him over to a social worker who would sit in the room while Marlena tried to reconnect with him. The first visit broke my heart. Marlena walked in like a stranger. Sat across from Caleb and said, "Hi, baby." "Mommy missed you." He stared at her like she was a ghost. The second visit, she brought him a small toy truck. He didn't touch it. He told the social worker afterward, "I don't want her to come again." But the visits were still court-ordered. After the third one, he came home and ripped up the picture he drew of our family. Said, "I don't know who's my mom now." I didn't cry in front of him. I waited until he was asleep. Then I sobbed into the laundry basket in the hallway. They were playing games. But they didn't know who they were playing with. I wasn't going to lose. Not this time. The final custody trial was set for mid-August. The courtroom was packed. Marlena brought in 3 people to sit behind her, followers from her online mom redemption group. Travis wasn't allowed in the building. He had violated his probation and was back in county jail. I sat with Denise and Caleb's court-appointed advocate. Caleb wasn't there, thank God. He was with a neighbor. Safe. We had 3 full days of hearings. On day 1, Marlena took the stand. She cried. She talked about her rock bottom, said her addiction came from postpartum depression, said she didn't remember sending the text that said "he's yours now." She claimed Travis controlled her. That she was afraid for her life. She said she had been coached into silence and was now standing up for herself. Claire passed around a fake Mother's Day card Caleb had made for Marlena. It was clearly written in adult handwriting. Denise destroyed it. She showed the judge the video of Caleb flinching during the first supervised visit. She read the therapist's report that said he had no emotional connection to Marlena anymore. That her presence was causing regression. On day 2, Denise called me to the stand. I didn't try to sound perfect. I told the truth. I said I never planned to raise another child at this stage in my life. I said it was hard. That some nights I cried. That some mornings I didn't want to get out of bed. But I do, I said. Because Caleb didn't ask for any of this. He's not a burden. He's a blessing. Even when it's hard, I don't leave. I stay. Because that's what parents are supposed to do. Claire tried to shake me. She brought up my past medical problems, my arthritis, my high blood pressure. She said I was fragile. I looked right at the judge and said, "My bones hurt, but my heart works just fine. And it knows who loves that boy." Day 3 was the final blow. Detective Rios came in with new evidence. Turns out Travis had been using a prepaid phone to contact someone inside the preschool. A part-time assistant named Rena. She was young, barely 22. And she had been sneaking information to Marlena, Caleb's behavior reports, what time he arrived, even which shoes he wore. Rena had received 2 Venmo payments marked as childcare consultation. They traced it back to Marlena's recovery sponsor, who turned out to be fake. When confronted, Rena confessed. She had been promised an influencer internship if she helped Marlena build a case for social media. It was all for TikTok content and a future podcast Marlena had been planning called The Reclaiming. The courtroom exploded. Claire tried to claim Marlena knew nothing. But the prosecutor stepped in, said they had messages and voice memos proving otherwise. Marlena had coached Rena to take secret photos, told her to look for bruises and get him to cry if you can. The judge recessed for 20 minutes. When he returned, his voice was quiet, but cold. "I've seen a lot of manipulative behavior in family court," he said. "But this is one of the most disturbing cases I've ever had." He granted me full legal custody of Caleb. Permanently. Marlena lost all parental rights. Visitation revoked. She was ordered to undergo psychiatric treatment and was barred from contacting me or Caleb, directly or through any third party, for 10 years. But it didn't end there. The judge referred the case for criminal review. 2 weeks later, Marlena was arrested for conspiracy, fraud, and endangering the welfare of a child. She had been using charity donations from her followers to fund her recovery, over $14,000 raised through lies. She pled guilty. She's serving 18 months in a low-security prison. Travis got an extra year added to his sentence for harassment and breaking his probation. Rena was fired, banned from working in childcare again, and fined. Her parents came to my door crying, apologizing. I didn't slam it in their faces, but I didn't invite them in either. That fall, I legally changed Caleb's last name. He chose it himself, he wanted to have my name. He said, "So people know I belong with you." He started calling me Momgram soon after. I took down all the old photos of Marlena. I left one, an old one, from before she changed. I keep it in a drawer. Just to remind myself how far things can fall, and how deep betrayal can go. I still go to therapy. I still check the locks twice. I still get hate mail once in a while from strangers who don't know the truth. I don't respond. But I sleep better. Caleb just finished kindergarten. He drew a picture of our house, with the words, "Me and my forever home." And I finally believe that's what we are. Permanent. Untouchable. Free.